And what's going on, Niner fam? It is Peter Lucas. This is the Niner Fanatic Podcast. And with me tonight, I don't think he really needs an introduction at this point, but we got Mr. Tarrerdome, like YouTube, Twitter famous. You know what it is. Like, we're gonna talk draft. We're gonna talk a little bit Ayuk. We're even gonna talk a little bit about Stephon Diggs and the trade and what that could mean for the 49ers. But before we get to any of it, we gotta hit the music.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I like to know.
are you ready for start time?
All right, and I don't know if you saw the the intro, but all of a sudden, like, my intro wasn't showing. But it is what it is. Anyway, we're here. It is the Niner Fanatic Podcast, and my name is Peter Lucas. We got with us today Tarrerdome, and once again, hey Tarrerdome, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on the socials if they don't already know you?
No, man. First and foremost, hey, we got to talk. Peter Lucas is on Restream, and this first time I've been in Restream. It is like Beverly Hills Cop when Axel Foley gets arrested, and he's in Beverly Hills and he's looking around, and this is the nicest cop car I have ever been in.
Don't call me the police. Do not call me the police.
It's just it's ambient. It is rated this. Hey, StreamYard, y'all gotta get yourselves together. It looks sharp, it looks crystal, and your intros, my brother, man, you doing that professional thing. You got me going back to the lab taking notes, and I'm like, I got to do it a little bit different than Peter Lucas. I'm Tarrerdome. I am on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 Eastern Standard. In the mornings, I touch everybody from the Diego to the Bay and all the way over to the side of the Atlantic. Get it done. Fun, family, 49ers football, fun, faith. Above all, man, I am a firm believer in Jesus Christ and all that he has done for me, and just the wonderful multiverse that is the 49er. The 49er content creator universe, man. I think we got the most, we got the best, we got the best in depth, we got the best fans, we got the best receiver ever, best quarterback ever, best coach ever, best owner ever. We got it all. And I'm happy to be a part of that. And I'm kicking it with my man, Peter Lucas. He been on me like white on rice and a glass of milk and a paper plate in a snowstorm. And I'm finally kicking it with my dude, man. Thank you so much for having me on. You the dude, man. It looks good. I like that Niner Fanatic podcast.
I appreciate the compliments, and like I appreciate you coming on because yeah, you see talent, and we want to rock with the best, so like that's why we bring on Mr. Tarrerdome. I love what he say, like all about the faith, and yeah, you love the realness. So and make sure you give the video a like, make sure that you give it a subscribe, make sure that you hit the bell so you get the notifications for when I go live and make sure that you subscribe to Mr. Tarredome's channel. His link is in the description as well, and everywhere where you can find. And his Twitter handle is also in there, so make sure you give my guy a follow. And yeah, it is what it is. It's Thursday, another day in Ninerland, and we found out yesterday that the 49ers will not be getting their tight end 2 in free agency. It doesn't look like. Unless they have another plan that we don't know about, which is always possible.
Could be.
But what do you think about that situation, and how do you think they fill that role? Do you think they go into free agency or do you think they just save it for the draft?
Well, Pete, I'm a spades player, man, and
Mm,
sometimes
me
you
too.
can't count those books.
Nope.
You know good and well if you only have a couple of hearts, and they may very well be a queen and a jack. Somebody's out there sitting around with a boatload of them, and they probably cutting. Or if you got a handful of hearts, and you think you're gonna make that queen walk, it's somebody out there cutting those books. So with free agency, man, it would have been nice to pick up the tight end in free agency, but with it being a tender the way it was, unrestricted free agent, they could match it. And usually, if the player is worth his salt and they come in a little low, with in the exception of what we're talking about, Brock Wright, they will jump in there and say, well, we can match that and keep them. I think they do it just to tease you a little bit, just to dangle and see what you were looking for and say, oh, we got you. We see what you had. He wanted to test the free market, and now we're going to be, I ain't going to say we're scrambling a little bit, because it is very, very sneaker deep, if I can pause, for tight ends. We might be able to pick up somebody with some real talent. I try to check out everybody. I try to check out Wayne Breeze. I try to check out Rombo, all the other guys, man, and see what other content creators as well as you, the fans, bring to the table, because I can't see everybody. And there's some tight ends out there in the draft we may be able to get in the third, maybe fourth, maybe even fifth round, the way we got George Kittle. So I think we can recover off of that. Ross the Boss Dwelly is still there. We had a rookie who in the Super Bowl, we put him in for one play, Braden Willis, and then the dude got a penalty on that one play. I'm like,
it's like, come on, dog. Like, I mean, it's just one play. You can't get. I mean, I guess it's a lot of pressure for a rookie to be in there in that moment. But sometimes you got to step. That's how you know what you got in those moments. That people step up in those moments.
Exactly.
But I think there's talent all the way through this draft. I think that there's going to be some undrafted guys that are going to be that guys that possibly go undrafted that are still going to be serviceable, and at least for blocking tight end purposes. So yeah, I think
always is.
Yeah, because in the draft, we go through these draft. I've been doing this for. I've been going through the draft for the last 3 years, like really tracking the draft, and every time, there's a lot of good players out there, and there's a lot of good websites out there that really track all these guys and give really good scouting reports on them. So there's guys that are going to be solid, but they just aren't on teams' radars. So it's always, there's guys that always fall out of the draft that end up playing for somebody and you sometimes starting. So
exactly. You can find, and I'm trying to do that, man. A lot of us do top-down analysis. We got I can't call them generic names, but there's some names that a guy like Mel Kiper, a guy like not Tim McShay, what is his name? Todd McShay would bring up, and they're going to be in the first round. You know they're going first. The quarterbacks are going first. You know their names. Caleb, you know the names. Danielson, you know the names already. But the 49ers historically look at 100 down to 150. We are looking for little nuggets out there, little things that people might have looked past. The greatest example in the world is young Mr. Brock Purdy, born December 27th. I've been 1999. I've been banging the drum for him, but it's other names like Kittle. It's other names like Greenlaw. It's other names like Hufunga that everybody might have looked past, and we get the nuggets, man. We're gold we're gold rush people. The 49er name was based on those people looking for gold. You had to go in the hills, go through the muck, dust it off, and find gold in them their heels.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna find some niceties in these later rounds, especially when it looks for tight end.
Yeah.
Pause. But
Yeah.
You
Me.
got no
Oh,
Diddy,
I've
no
got
Diddy.
at least 4 or 5 pauses in every show. Like
Yeah.
so it's but you look at the tight end spot and and it's not just the tight end spot. Every last year was the first year that the 49ers really, to me, just completely whiffed on the draft besides Jair Brown.
Come on, sir. Yes, sir.
It was I mean, usually we can count on those later round picks, but this goes to show that you can't always count on that. And now they lost Adam Peters, which we don't know how that's going to affect those later round picks.
Well, you preaching.
So I know that everybody thinks that, oh, well, it's the group of scouts, and like we don't know who Kyle is willing to respect in the room, and he may just say, with Adam gone, like, I'm just going to take over, and we know Kyle ain't the best evaluator of talent.
Oh, yeah. You think?
Yeah.
Yes. That's the understatement of the year, Pete.
Yeah, but like you say, there are this draft. I think every draft, honestly, there's always gems to be found. Always.
Oh, yes, sir.
And because it happens every year, some seventh. I mean, the Eagles just re-signed their left tackle, and who was a 7th rounder, I believe.
There it is.
And he got $66 million, and he was on one of the best offensive lines in the league. So it absolutely can happen. But my question for you is, do you think they draft one of these tight ends, or do you think that they're going to eventually try to sign somebody off of free agency, or they just bring Ross Dwelly back? I'm hoping it's not the latter.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, Pete, man, it looks like Ross the Boss is gonna get back there. It looks like Ross the Boss is gonna get back there.
What do you think happened with Latu?
Latu can't catch a cold naked in July.
He nice on Madden. He nice on Madden.
Latu can't catch. He came in the door, said it before, never let the mic man catch me no more. Shout out Rakim. He just, we get these guys that just can't do it. And we're like, what is this? He just, maybe he gonna get some hands in the off season. Maybe it'll happen for him. I understand he had an injury that put him on the IR for the entire season. So he basically took this red shirt, and we had Braden Willis, who got more time than him. But my God, man, you come in from the University of Alabama. Yeah. You got to come in, man, showing and proving. And I'm just, it's some guys. I'm shouting out Beto. Love my man Beto, man, who said, hey, we just got to give him a chance. He can break out and this and that. But hey, if the pups don't bite when they're young, they not gonna bite when they're old. Yeah, I know what I've seen, and hey, you got your opportunity. You got to get in there and show and prove. Braden Willis is decent as advertised. He said, the scout said he's athletic, not that good of a blocker. And obviously in the Super Bowl, we showed when he had his opportunity to shine.
I mean, he's kind of small, so for a tight end, he doesn't have a lot of junk in the trunk. So it's I just think he gets a body in front. He's good at putting his body out there, but he doesn't have the power to really like wall off people. So it is what
And you said something a minute ago talking about the Eagles, man. I really love their offensive line coach. I'm an old school guy. I'm 54 years old. Glory to God. I turned 54 in the day before the Super Bowl.
Oh,
And
okay.
I just remember the great offensive line coaches, guys like Hannafin, guys like Joe Bugle,
Mm,
guys like Bob McKittrick for the San Francisco 49ers. They taught and developed offensive linemen. We don't necessarily do that. And you
no.
got to be able to block coming in the door. You got to know where to put your face, your feet, and your fist when you block. I played a little bit in high school. Later on in college, I moved all the way up to safety and linebacker. But my base is some offensive line. I played fullback as well. I played all the positions.
Mm.
And Chris Forrester, I'm just saying, and this is a secret between me and you, Pete. I know the chat might be popping. I'm gonna keep this between me and you. I'm gonna
Yeah.
just keep between me and you. Hey man, besides Aaron Banks, I don't see it in the development
No, no.
from
This
Chris Forrest.
the
I don't see.
49ers,
I don't
yeah,
see.
the 49ers don't bring in like talent per se on the offensive line. Like they bring in serviceable guys that because Kyle doesn't value there's two things Kyle does not value. Kyle does not value offensive linemen, first of all. He thinks that it's the scheme. And all he needs you to do is get into a spot where you're just a pylon. And and that you just got to make them go around you. And that's how Kyle schemes it up. He schemes up his pass protection, and that's why from time to time when it doesn't look good, I mean, and the guy doesn't get in this spot in time, that's why our quarterback gets blown up. That's why we constantly are
Come
going through
on,
quarterback injuries.
come on.
But then the other position that he doesn't really care about is cornerback. He
And
don't
and,
really care about cornerback either. And
and
they went and got Mooney Ward, but before him, I guess you could say they went out and got an aging Uncle Sherm at the time and took a chance on him. But that was out of necessity because they were trying to build a culture. Like so Kyle has his philosophies, and I'm hoping that his philosophies kind of evolve. Every year he's evolved like a little bit, and I need him to have an epiphany. I need him to have a day of reflection and just say, "Hey, I need to if Brock is going to be our franchise quarterback,
give it to
he's
me.
not he's not Lamar.
Come on, sir. Come on, sir.
We've got to protect him and protect our investment because you're about to invest. I mean, how many a year? 40 we're probably talking 50 million a year plus. So to protect your investment, you've got to start fortifying that line. I know that all 49er fans would love to see them go double, maybe triple dip into the offensive line just to inject some talent.
Mm,
Like and get some guys to develop
mm.
and maybe just go after some traits because I do think Chris Forster is a pretty decent offensive line coach. I just think that what they're giving him scraps to work with. And when you don't have freaks except for Trent Williams, when you don't have any freaks on the squad, I mean, I can only make sugar out of ish so much. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
man.
I mean, I
He,
turned Brendel. I mean, if you want to give him
go
his
ahead.
real he
Go
turned
for it.
Brendel into a Pro Bowl alternate.
Okay.
So I mean, Brendel was a journeyman, like who shouldn't have even been starting, to be honest. So yeah, but it is what it is. Like, who do you think? Do you know of any of the tight ends in the draft, and who do you have your eye on anybody that they might target?
I well, first and foremost, Pete, I just wanted to let you preach a little bit, man, because you were spot on. You mentioned Kyle and his philosophy. I write it down as you're talking. When I go to church, I take my notes and,
Yeah.
and see what hits and see if I'm in line with the Lord as the man of God is
Mhm.
speaking. And you were so there. We need to put a premium on actually getting the offensive lineman we need. Chris Forster may need better equipped more talented and the utmost
Traits. It's just traits.
traits
Give me
that
some
you can
traits to
give
work.
him to work with. And that goes to say in the room when we're in the draft room, does he have the voice of Kyle? Does he
Yeah.
have the voice when he steps up and says, "Hey, I see DeJuan Jones right there. I really want that guy." Does Kyle turn around and say, "Well, hey, look, just shut up. We don't need that." Or does he have the cachet and the cojones or the intestinal fortitude to say, "Hey, if that's what my man need, that's what we're going after." Something's amiss there. Something's amiss, and you addressed it. I want everybody to know. Having the greatest weapons around you, having 2 all-pro wide receivers, having an offensive player of the year in the backfield, having a quarterback who was number 1 in efficiency, yards per catch, yards in the air, and all of these things, and constantly being ready to change out and grabbing more quarterback is the equivalent of building a house, and I'm just going to get a boatload of circuit breakers or a boatload of fuses. I'm not going to build the fuse box right. I'm not going to build the circuit breaker right.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep changing it out.
We're just gonna keep changing out fuses.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the new homeowner 1,000 fuses and keep on plugging them in. Just get the fuse box right. Get the electricity and the wiring right. That is your offensive line, Kyle.
Yeah.
You got to get that right. It's the engine of the car. It's the fuse box of the house. Get that right. And then we're not worrying about who's the 3rd string quarterback that we might need, who's the 5th string running back that you might need. If you got that offensive line right, I can plug a Landis Gary back there, man. I can plug anybody back there. I can throw anybody back there. Give him 3-4 seconds to throw the ball. We're good. He's protected. You got a valuable asset. Protect your asset. You got somebody good back there and solid. Going back to the tight end, I'd like some people that are being looked past. Obviously, Brock Bowers out of University of Georgia. My God, he could be a reiteration of George Kittle. That'd be nice to get.
I mean,
but
it would be nice.
I think he's going 1st round.
Yeah, he's gonna be going top 10.
Yeah, he's out of here.
Yeah.
But I really like the young kid out of Texas. I think he
Jaheim?
can do some.
Is it Jaheim?
Yeah, he can't buy a beer yet. He can't buy a beer yet. I don't think he's number 20 years old, but the numbers he put up at the University of Texas, and forgive me, everybody, I'm a little biased when it comes to your conference. I don't like the defensive linemen that come out of the Pac-10, no matter what, Solomon Thomas. You come out of the Pac-10 as a defensive lineman, I don't like you. No, you're not it. But man, when I see guys out of University of Texas, out of Iowa that can play tight end, there's one coming out of Iowa that I don't know what they do in Iowa. They feed him corn and tight end medicine.
Jatavian Sanders is his name.
Dave, every time I turn on the film, every time I look at college football, this big ox is running up and down the field and catching balls and going crazy. Those are the kind of guys I like, man. And there are going to be nuggets that a lot of people look past, but it is a quarterback's best friend to have a good open tight end. He can block when you need scat protection. That'll be 6 in the protection. And then when you need him on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, it's nothing bigger on the field. You can't miss the daggone thing. It looks like it looks like a sore thumb after you hit it with a hammer. You can't miss it. Throw it between the 8 and the 5. If you get muddled and you can't find anybody, just throw it to that big dude
Yeah,
with his hands open, who's 6'5",
yeah,
going about 235, 240. It'll be okay.
yeah.
He'll either muscle everybody out or you're gonna miss tremendously. Either way, incompletion or a completion, throw it to that guy. He's your best friend. And you gotta have a tight end. And what's better, a double threat. George Kittle sometimes have to stay in. We can run a 2 tight end set. They'll call it 12 personnel.
Mm-hmm.
We have CMC in the backfield. We'll run 2 tight ends, multiple threats from either side, and it makes you ambidextrous.
Yeah, especially for
also,
the 49ers.
Yes.
Because that's it. It makes them lethal in a way because the way that Kittle can run routes and catch the ball, you don't know what's coming. Like honestly, you don't know what's coming, and because all of our receivers can block as well, it adds a whole nother dimension to all of it. Like because and then CMC can catch the ball out of the backfield like better than most receivers. So it's there is so much talent on the 49ers offense that we wonder, why we get into the playoffs and the offense kind of staggers and stagnates like at times. And I believe that in the playoffs, and I've talked about it many, 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 many times on my show. I believe in the playoffs, you're not facing regular season teams.
Yes, sir.
These are the best of the best. So you're going to face some good defenses. They're going to watch tape on you. They know what you're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
So you can only disguise so much. So at that point, and you're going up against some good defensive lines, so they're going to get pressure. You have to, in my opinion, you have to have offensive linemen to combat that. Other teams had offensive linemen to combat our D line. Detroit did a fantastic job against our D line. Like
who did Detroit draft about 2 years ago with their first
Penny
pick?
Sewell.
Penny Sewell.
Yeah, and he's a beast.
Get the wiring right. Get that offensive line right.
And what's funny is that they said in the beginning when they first got here, John and Kyle, they said they wanted to build this team from the inside out. It was going to be in the trenches. But it seems to me that the only trenches they're caring about are on the defensive side. Like they don't care about the offensive line because since they went out and got Mike McGlinchey, who was a great run blocker, but he didn't work out as well as we wanted him to.
Yeah.
Like, but after him, what did they? All they did, they waited until later rounds from that point forward. Like they did not. They just kept getting also ran after and just bringing people from other teams, guys that were over the hill, like that couldn't stay healthy, all of those things. And not to blame them for trying to bring a Weston Richburg, who was doing well before he got hurt.
Oh,
or Alex Mack. Alex Mack was a good pickup for his season.
I like Alex Mack. Yeah.
But I mean, there was no future in that. You were only going to get 1 to 2 years out of that. Eventually, you have to and we wonder why teams like the Patriots had such long runs. Is what did they do every year? They drafted linemen. They fortified their offensive line. Every single season they drafted guys, and they would lose guys every season, but they'd have somebody to step right into those spots.
You better get them.
So
you better get them.
It is what it is.
It's better to have a has been than a never was.
Yeah, for sure.
And more better to have a never was than a never's gonna be. you need that on the offensive line. I really like that on the offensive line. The Patriots had a consistency with their coaching staff and that offensive line. Protect your asset. If you find an asset in Tom Brady, if you find an asset in going back to the 85 Bears, man, Walter Payton, going back to the 2000 Ravens, Jamal, what's his name? Jamal. Oh man,
Who's
his
what
name
team?
escapes it. The 2000 Ravens when that running
Oh,
back is
Jamal
running up
Williams.
and
Wasn't it Jamal
yeah,
Williams? It was
yeah,
Jamal Williams, right?
yeah. In the 2002 Bucks, it was all start.
Yeah.
Just if you run the ball, you gotta have the horses up front. The Redskins of the 80s, the
Oh
the
yeah. Riggins.
70s, Riggins had the Hogs.
Yeah.
The black and blue offensive line of the New York Giants, even when they won their Super Bowls, they had Lawrence Taylor, Carson's, Reasons, Banks. Number one defense, the extension of a defense is your offensive line. Bart
Mm-hmm.
Oates and those big guys. The 85 Bears had Hilgenberg and all those dudes. The
And
90s.
you knew they weren't going to run the ball, or they weren't going to pass the ball.
No,
Like
no,
you knew they weren't going to pass the ball. It was going to be teams were stacking the box, and there was
yeah,
nothing they could do about it. Sweetness was
yeah,
still running all down people's throats.
yep.
Like, and I mean, there was nothing you could do about it because
Yeah,
their offensive line was just dominating.
we coming at you. Mike Tyson was not going to get out here and become leaping Lanny Poffo and do some and do some stuff. You know what he gonna do,
Yeah,
but you can't stop it. And
yeah,
with the rule change and everything that's going on, man, you get some big physical runners. You get downhill and you get a intimidating, menacing offensive line on both sides. Because right now, as a defense coordinator, I do self-scouting. I scout ourselves.
mm-hmm.
And Spagnola, who is a wonderful coach and holding 5 rings, but he told himself, look, he told his defense, look, hey guys, I'm telling you, if they run the ball, they're gonna run it behind Trent Williams.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about this other side here. Just come from behind and cut this off. But they run over here behind Trent.
They were still able to run the ball.
Yeah.
Like I mean, they were still able to get chunk yardage from time to time. They couldn't build any consistency because there was just too many mistakes. I mean, all across. Trent, how many mistakes did Trent make in that game?
Man,
And
Trent started. I'm like, Trent, what's
I was
going
like, what
on?
is going on?
It's
like,
your first Super Bowl. What's
yeah,
I think I
mean, everybody, and you couldn't point to one guy. It was Trent. It was
CMC
Braden Willis,
fumbled early.
CMC fumble. Like I mean, it just, and I mean, then you had the punt that was really nobody's fault necessarily. It was just a bad break.
And then like, Ray's out there. I'm gonna pick it up and run like we're playing in the sand lot. The old pick up and run. We called it pick up and run, y'all. Everybody might have called it something politically incorrect nowadays. Smear the
yeah,
cue.
but yeah, we like there's a lot of things we used to do back in the 80s that you can't even talk about.
Oh, you bet not talk about.
if I had a guy that I was looking at in the draft for me, I'm looking around that third to fourth round level. I'm looking at a guy, Theo, what's his name, out of Penn State, Theo Johnson. That's my guy.
I'm hearing a lot about him. He is ambidextrous. He can go to fullback.
He blocks.
He blocks. He can block. He can catch downfield. He's got a little wiggle. He's got a little shake.
Tip Ryman, they've met with him. You know that Steph Sanchez has that great graph she does. Big up to Steph.
Steph is bad. Shout out Steph. That's my girl.
She does a tremendous job with that graph that she has.
And it does the greatest Nick Bosa ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love you, Steph.
But she put together all the people that the 49ers have talked to already. And that's Theo Johnson was one of them. They also talked to Eric All. They also talked to out of Iowa connection. He's an interesting prospect because he's probably going to go late, and like 6th, 7th round if he even gets drafted. And but he is definitely a blocker. He's kind of like Kittle in the fact that you don't you don't know really what he's going to be because there was no production because Iowa doesn't pass the ball.
They don't.
But
but
you also got
but you
AJ
can't
Barner out there out of Michigan.
you
He's
can't
another
miss
guy.
on an Iowa tight end. You can't. It's like Ohio State corners
Yeah,
or Ohio State secondary guys. Just get you one.
yeah.
Just get you one. They're like Toyotas. Just get one, man. Just it's gonna be all right.
And
200,000 miles. That's just what they do.
yeah,
Iowa
exactly.
tight ends. I love them.
And
I
Tip
just do.
Ryman, Tip Ryman also out of Illinois.
Tip
Like he's
Ryman.
another guy that's gonna go late if he even gets drafted. Like he another guy that's he's a blocking specialist, but I think that there's a little bit more just because he didn't get a lot of opportunities to catch the ball, but he does. To me, when I watched his film, he does have soft hands. He just didn't get a lot of opportunities, and I think there's some more in there. But he's definitely a good blocker. So those are some guys to be on the lookout for later in later rounds. And that's probably where I think the 49ers would take a tight end if they did.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless we do the dreaded, we're looking for the best player if we stay pat at 31. I think this draft is going to involve some moving on up. It's going to involve some George Jefferson. You're gonna have to move up to get the guy you want to at a decent 16, maybe 15 to get a JC Latham out of University of Alabama or Talise Fuaga out of the Beavers of Oregon State to get that tight end.
The issue with that Tarrerdome is how much does it take to move that far up from 31? And that's why I feel like they're not going to go that. They're not going to trade up out of the 31 spot because I feel like to get where they need to go to get one of those guys, and unless one of them falls, if one of them falls to like that 23 spot, 22 to 25 spot, if one of them falls, like then I could see the 49ers trying to go up and get somebody. But other than that, they're not moving up past that. Like it's going to cost too much.
I think looking at the Jimmy Johnson draft scale, we're sitting at 31, which is at 600 points. Yeah. To get up to 17, we need to find 350 points. That just involves we might have to give up a second this year and a fifth in 2025. We got the capital to do it. Or you can, amalgamate any type of combinations to get up past a New Orleans, past who did I have identified? A Jacksonville, and Trent Baalke take the first broken leg guy ever. Yeah. So get on the phone with him and just get to that 17 or 18. But you are totally right. You're totally right. We got to let some stuff fall. But usually in this draft, man, everybody gets happy on quarterback and wide receiver. I think they'll overdraft a little bit, and that will push your tackles down a little bit. All you have to do is ask yourself this in free agency this year. What wasn't available? Sometimes you have to deal from the abstract. Tackles wasn't available.
Yeah. I mean, but that's because if you do have a good one, you're not letting them go.
You ain't letting them go. And they weren't out there at a premium. So this tells me with this draft, where you have a premium select of tackles, you have a Joel, you have my personal guy, JC Latham, Talise Fuaga, who I take. You have Tyler Guyton. You have Joe Morgan's out there. You have a plethora of right tackles that you could put in there and play. This would be the draft to get it. If you don't do it this year, man, you're gonna be scrambling and looking around, and it's gonna be like musical chairs. You're gonna be lacking. You'll get by on the teams you're supposed to beat.
Yes.
You'll get by on the Arizonas. You'll get by on the Chicagos. You'll get by on this guy and that guy. But when it comes January and February, they're gonna notice a sizable difference and a sizable advantage in guys like Chris Jones, TJ Watt. Now with the Texans, my one of my guys I really wanted, Danielle Hunter. They're gonna put him out there on that left side of the defense, right side of you, and they're gonna put a man-to-man up on McKivitz to see what they got, and we're gonna be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, like the only reason why I don't see there's a couple of reasons why I don't see them moving up, but the other reason why I don't see them moving up is because I think that they got a lot of, and they're sneaky needs, because they've got, after this season, it's going, their guys are starting to get long in the tooth, and there's gonna be some decisions that they got to make going forward, and they've got to get some guys in the fold to start getting ready for the eventualities of Trent Williams going bye-bye. The eventualities of, I mean, Brendel's contract is up next season. Do you really want to re-up him? Like, or do you want to get a young stud into that mix and maybe go after a Jackson Powers Johnson in the first, even in the first round? It's possible to go, or a Graham Barton. That's why I think if they stay pat at 31, they're gonna have somebody is gonna be there to where I mean, I look at a Jordan Morgan, I look at a Kingsley Suamataia. Like,
Kingsley's nice.
Yes, Kingsley is nice. Like, the only reason why he's down where he is because he plays at BYU.
Yeah.
Like, really,
that Mountain West. You know how that is. But they have to pass block all the time. He's got to know his assignments. He's got to call out the defense, call out the slides, calls out the protections. He does have those skills, but it is BYU. You know how that goes.
So but those are some guys that you could bring in that would be starter level. Like Kingsley, I think that he could compete with McKivitz. I think year one he could compete. Would Kyle let him do that? I don't know. But then you've got, in the second round of 63, there's going to be some guys down there. I feel like Christian Haynes out of Connecticut. They're
hearing big things about him.
Christian Haynes is a beast. I really like him. He may even go higher than that. Like, he may end up going in the even just right out of the first round. But Christian Haynes, I like. You've got Patrick Paul sitting out there. He's got all the measurable traits. He just needs some tutelage and some development. And you've got a few different guys out there that you could. There's Cooper Beebe's, and there's all kinds of guys out there, especially in this draft. You got Christian Jones, the 49ers met with out of Texas. You're Texas, one of your Texas guys.
Yeah, man. I like those Texas dudes.
And but you've got there's another guy out of Notre Dame, Blake something. I can't remember what his name is. Where is it?
Notre Dame.
Blake Fisher. Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame. He's not gonna be a superstar, but what he is gonna be is serviceable. I feel.
They don't like Fishers, man. My man Joey Fisher came to him last year. He's a small college guy, and they sent him away. But Pittsburgh picked him up.
Yeah, right away.
Manning.
Manning, another guy.
I like that guy, man. They sent him away. That's why I'm like, what is Chris Forrester doing? Get on the table and jump up and down and say, look, keep this guy. Get rid of Cameron Latu, who can't catch COVID in a Chinese bat cave.
I feel you. It's just Kyle puts a premium on guys that know his system and have been in the system, even if they're not good. Because McKivitz to me was not good. And we thought that they should have taken a tackle last year. They tried to give us some line about there was nobody available. And then you had DeJuan Jones go crazy. You had Blake Freeland, as much as he wasn't a superstar, but guess what? He got a whole season of experience and he was serviceable. And he gave you at least what McKivitz could have given you.
If my man Bashar is in the chat, we were having discussions about DeJuan Jones all the way up to the draft, 4 weeks before the draft. I watch college football. I see these guys in real time, man, and I just had DeJuan Jones on the radar. I said he's gonna be available in that third round. We got 3 third-round picks. They got to get him. They got to get him. They got to get him. And when we took the kicker, when we took, I just
big up to the chat. The chat is going crazy.
The chat is going crazy. Like, what's up, all my
really
friends out here?
Everybody coming
David
through.
McNiner
in the house.
My man.
Like I see, Don't Bother Me in the house. Like Manly Shavers,
the
Niner
Golden
Gang. Dion,
Domer.
what's going on, Dion?
Dion out this piece. What's up,
Ryan?
Golden
No
Domer.
Borders. Make sure. So Ryan at No Border Sports. I don't know if you met Ryan, but Ryan is the only guy last year when everybody thought that they were going to take a tackle. He was the only one that came on my show and said that he didn't think that they were going to take a tackle. He didn't think he was the only one, and sure enough,
he was right.
He was the only one that got that, because I was for sure that they were going to take a tackle. And when all those tackles fell and they were all sitting there, I was like, okay, they're going to take one of these guys. And then they take a kicker and we all lose our minds. And then I said, okay, well, they got one more shot at it here. And then they take Latu. And I was just like, wait. And then they had another shot at it. And they still didn't take it. It was...
he was on it.
And then when asked about it, they said they didn't see a fit. Okay, well,
all right.
I mean, you're gonna sit there. I mean, if the only people that fit your system are guys with no physical talent, then I mean, I don't know how that works in the NFL. I mean, you're gonna get your quarterback killed. But
we just get another quarterback. They'll change the rules so we can have 3.
Yeah. Well, they did that.
Yeah. That's
just for us, because we getting our quarterback's arms torn off.
The fuse box theory. We're gonna get 100 fuses rather than wire this house correctly with circuit breakers. A mansion, a $500 million mansion, or now we'll say let's say LA, lower LA, $5 million mansion in the hills. We're going to get this right and wire it right. No, we're just going to get a bunch of fuses. And when you blow them, we'll just plug another one in. It don't work like that, dude. And your dad's Mike Shanahan.
Yeah.
This is how Mike did it.
It's wild. But I really think that Kyle looks at it like he puts that magnetic football board, the one that rattles.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's how he looks at football. He just starts the machine up, and he's like, "Oh, it's gonna be okay." He don't need to be super athletic because he's gonna be right in front of the guy, and that's all. I just need the 2 seconds. That's all. But yeah, it's so let's say this: if they don't, let's say they don't pick a offensive tackle in the first round, which everybody's going to lose their mind.
Okay.
Or an offensive lineman, period. Let's say they don't take an offensive lineman, period, in the first round. What do you think? Who do you think that they go? What position? Or if you have a guy in mind that they could possibly take?
Knowing them, they would go defensive line, and they would probably look for a Michigander if he's available. I think we're talking about Chop Robinson.
Yeah, he's at Penn State, isn't he?
He's at Penn State.
Yeah, I think he was
Chop Robinson at Penn State. Okay, they would probably go with a defensive line
if he's there.
That's what they tend to do. I'm hoping, I am praying, Pete, that we've learned things since 2017 and saying, hey, let's police ourselves up. We've made some mistakes. Let's get on a different philosophy. Let's let's get traditional. Let's protect assets. But I'm forming it in. I'm forming my response based on the question you asked me and the parameters in which you asked me. I think they would probably look defensive line.
Yeah.
And those stand out to me. For me personally, if you gun to the head, the guy that I just absolutely love, and I've been loving him. I follow ACC football down here in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan Fisk of Florida State
Oh yeah,
University.
Braden Fix. Yeah.
My goodness, Lord. If I didn't see the cowboy when I watched him play a few games,
Yeah.
this guy's motor doesn't stop. He comes after you. He's relentless. He's tenacious. He's fundamentally strong. He loves what he does. This guy loves ball. Brendan Fisk should be wearing scarlet and gold. That's where I would go.
Yeah.
But the way you formed the question, and I'm gonna respect the way you formed the question because you seal me in. They will probably go, give me a Michigan guy. Let's throw some mud on the wall and see what sticks there. They probably go, or the Penn State guy, they'll probably go a defensive lineman. And they started off with Solomon Thomas out of Stanford. You know how I feel about Pac-10 defensive linemen. Don't do that.
It was just a mistake from the beginning because he was a tweener. Everybody knew he was a tweener.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, there's two guys. There's two guys that I see that would be there that I could see them taking. And if they don't decide they don't like the offensive lineman in that spot. And the first one is Darius Robinson, defense. He's an edge out of where is he from? Missouri? I want to say he's from Missouri. Yeah, Missouri. Like and
trying to get some Alden Smith energy.
Yeah, he is, but except he's a lot bigger than Alden Smith. He's what, 6? They don't put his size there, but I want to say he's 6'4", about 265, 270, and and really athletic. Motor, you want to talk about motor? This kid is he's nice. I think he might end up being better than Chop Robinson. I'll be honest with you. And then my other guy is I look at these guys and I just think about how ridiculous this offense would be if they went out and got A.D. Mitchell. And not just for this season. A.D. Mitchell, he is a wide receiver out of Texas.
Okay. Adonai.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's near and dear to my heart. Adonai, as a preacher, you gotta understand the Greek language as well as the Hebrew language.
Yeah.
Adonai in Hebrew means Lord. And he stood out to me on a couple of games. I looked at some Texas games, Georgia games in particular, because they were the popular teams, and I wanted to see Colorado State, USC, stuff like that. And Adonai can ball. He's nice.
He can run. He runs some routes
and tough.
That's what I'm saying. Tough, can block. And I think that Kyle would love him. And I look at this receiver core, and next season they're gonna have to make some decisions. As far as Debo goes. So I feel like this would be a perfect time to bring in a guy like Adonai Mitchell to set that up. I could see it.
Yeah.
Not that I would love to. I think that they should go offensive line. I'm all in on offensive line, but if they don't, those are the two guys that I look at, and I'm just like, I wouldn't be so mad.
Man, we're so simpatico, my brother. We I was looking at when I heard the whispers of a possible trade with Ayuk and or Debo, I started looking around for receivers. And down here, Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of the Special Operations and Airborne, shout out. We get South Carolina games, and there's a young man named Legit
Oh,
down here in
yep.
South Carolina, 6'3". He's going,
Mhm.
it's listed at 215,
Yeah.
but I know 225, 230 when I see it.
Yeah.
4.3 speed, good routes,
Mhm.
really tough at the point of attack, at receiving. If we were to do some crazy things with Ayuk and or Debo,
Mhm.
this guy Xavier Legit is legit.
And I would be right there with you, except
Yeah.
Kyle doesn't like big, strong, fast guys.
And
like he just don't. He had an opportunity to get DK, and he didn't. DK was an athletic freak.
man, what? Right?
And I was like, oh, he's there. He's there. This is our opportunity. I wasn't happy about the Debo pick. I'll be honest with you in the beginning. Because I was like, DK was sitting right there. And you passed him up. And then I understood after because I didn't know about the running back history and like all the other stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
but, but yeah, I just feel like Kyle doesn't like big, strong, fast guys. He definitely don't like speed. He just does. He likes those guys that run those 4.5 and
Four,
that can
six.
route people up. That can route people up and get open, and they can break a tackle or two.
You got him pegged. You know
And
it.
that's so.
You
I mean,
know it.
Malachi Corley is a guy that everybody's been looking at. Everybody's been talking about because he's this year's Debo clone. Every year they've got a new Debo clone since
Every
2021.
That's when you're a special player. When they say,
Yeah,
"Yeah, we're looking for the next Debo Samuel."
yeah.
Can you do Debo Samuel in my was that Gilbert Godfrey voice? We're
Yeah.
looking for the next CMC. Can you be a CMC? When you're looking for the next one, that's when you're officially legit.
Yeah.
That's when you're the guy.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like there's a few guys in this draft. Lad McConkey is another guy that I just feel like I couldn't pick him at 31. I feel like he would have to be there in the second round uh for me. But yeah, there's a couple of guys. Everybody loves CMC's brother, and
Luke.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I like him from a fit in Kyle's system standpoint. I just don't think he blocks enough for
What
to be a factor at least in year one.
What do
Uh,
you feel about Brendan Rice? Sure, Rice's kid.
I've talked about him the last few weeks, and this is the thing about Brendan Rice. He's got the size, he's technically got the speed, but everything with him looks labored to me, if that makes sense. Everything. When he tries to get to top speed, it looks like he has to try for everything. Some guys are fast and they just glide. Everything is labored and he has to try and kick it into another gear to get to that top speed. And I so I just and he's not a big contested catch guy as big as he is.
I didn't see him contest a lot. Caleb helped him out and placed it a great
Yeah.
deal.
Uh,
Yeah,
so
you
I
you're so
it's
right.
if he's there
But
and
he's
they pick him, I wouldn't be mad at it. But
yeah, he's a
but I
Rice.
would be, and they did do a top 30 visit with him, so that's
Oh,
always a
he came in.
possibility.
Okay.
Hmm.
And
So
I'm sure Stephanie put that on there.
yeah,
So
it's in there. It's
okay.
in there. I look at it every day just to get my updates,
She's
and
she's the Prego of the 49er faithful,
yeah,
ladies and gentlemen,
yeah.
Stephanie.
But if you haven't heard of Javon Baker out of UCF,
Javon Baker,
look out
University
for
of
Javon Baker. I've been talking about
South
Javon
Florida.
Baker since I did my first mock draft. I want to say probably 2 weeks after the Super Bowl. I've been
Yeah.
talking about this kid and pounding the table for this kid since the beginning because I trust in smart people, and there is a lot of really good work done at Draft Network. There's a lot of good work done at PFN when they scout these guys. But I have not seen a site do better work to me than Draft Network has at kind of breaking these guys down. And he blocked Javon Baker blocks. Javon Baker is a 49er. He
Yeah, man.
6'1", 202, runs a 4.5. And but he routes it up. He has a nice little route tree, and he blocks. He's a tough player, and that he is a Kyle guy. So I would not be shocked. And he came in for a visit. I don't know if he came in for a top 30 visit, but I know he came in for a visit. So it's he's on the table too.
And we always got to consider a Kyle guy. You got to be able to block. No block, no rock.
Yeah, no block, no rock. So at the very least, there's a threat that they could be there they could play year one. Because if they can't block, like Danny Gray, have we seen Danny Gray? Does anybody know where Danny Gray's at?
Milk box. Last time, the biggest story about Danny Gray is he may have been involved in the
Rashid Rice stuff.
In the Rashid Rice.
And that's the first time we've seen Danny Rice since training camp last year. Yeah, take that for what it is. But Danny Gray don't block.
Oh, Pete, I set him up and you knock him down, man.
I tell you, man.
Danny Gray. Danny Gray ain't all about that block.
While we are talking about wide receivers,
I run and get open.
Yeah, you open over there by yourself because you didn't run through the route. I think he just doesn't know how to. Croc said something really good about him the other day.
Shout out Eric Crocker.
Oh yeah, shout out the GOAT. I trust in him for all my wide receiver and cornerback stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But he says that Danny Gray has a problem using his speed to his advantage in his routes. He doesn't he doesn't run his routes to his speed. Exactly. He doesn't know how to dial it back and then just burst.
Michael Irvin said that years ago. I think it's about 2 years ago. We fall in love at the underwear Olympics.
Yeah, at the combine.
About how fast a guy is, but can he run to his route, dip the hips, drummer, stay with your elbows tight, and get out of the route and run with the same tenacity, the same speed, the same shift out of it. Mm-hmm. We're looking at the 40 time, but we don't look at the shuttle. Some guys are straight line track guys, and we look. Oh, that guy ran a 4.2. He ran a 4.11. He ran a 4.00. But Usain Bolt can do that. But can he run routes? Can he stack a receiver? Does he have some Allen Iverson quicks to get your weight shifted to one side and then cut that thing to the other? Suddenness. We're looking for suddenness.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm gearing my mind more to look at. And as the example you listed, some guys can't do that. They straight line guys. I was in college with a guy who said he going to the pros. And we said, dude, you on the bench. And he said,
they can't hold me. They can't hold me.
He said he won't know.
They're protecting y'all. They're protecting y'all.
Pete, he was a $105 standing in a puddle of pee with a brick in his pocket. But he said, I'm going pro. He said, because I can run, man. I can run. As long as you run that 40, you can go. And sure enough, he had opportunities we didn't have because people fall in love with the 40, but they never look at, can a guy throttle it? Can he maintain his level? Can he Decepticon a DB? Mm-hmm. And can he run out of that route with the same tenacity and fortitude and vigor?
Yeah. It's really about the twitch. It's really about the twitch more than
you got to have it. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I feel you. So we're hitting up on that hour mark, but I want to get to one little thing before we get out of here. and everybody saw the Stephon Diggs trade. Okay, and
Yeah, man.
immediately, Bills fans started getting on Twitter talking about what it would take to trade for Brandon Ayuk immediately, and started coming up with all kinds of ridiculous trade packages that would never happen in a million years. I mean, first of all, I want to put people's minds at ease, okay? The 49ers, it's going to take, they've said it before about Brandon Ayuk. They have a plan. That every year it's the same thing. They don't get a guy signed until training camp. It's just not going to happen. So
That's what
if
they
you're
do.
waiting, if you keep thinking that it's going to happen earlier, it's not.
That's what they do.
And the other part is, guess what? Like if you think that you're going to trade for one of the guys that they have planned to sign in that offseason, it is going to take a ridiculous amount.
Yep.
It's not going to be to your favor. It is not going to look good for you if that trade goes through. So you are going to give up a high first round draft pick.
It's gotta be first.
Oh, it's got to be first. I'm talking about. It's got to be, to me, it's got to be a top 20 pick.
And you got to move up with that first. This is what they do. Whether it's Nick Bosa, whether it was the Deebo Samuels. This is just 49er 101. This is what they do. Bills Mafia can get on the internet and say all the ballyhooed synopsis and all the contingencies and everything they want.
All the stuff you want. You can dream up stuff all you want to.
Yeah, but this is how we do. This is how we do. I was surprised that Stephon Diggs went for a second.
Well, you look at the situation
next year.
Yeah, you look at the situation. You got to look at the situation, though. I think that the Bills wanted to get better overall at the wide receiver core, and I don't think that they felt they could do that with his. They've got a window with Josh Allen, and I think that they said, well, if we can get through this season, because we're going to have to take the hit this season on for the money, but then next season we'll be able to bring in a couple of guys. And let's say we draft a guy this year. So it's almost setting them up for next year. They could still do something because they got Josh Allen. And who knows? Stephon Diggs could have been holding back some other wide receiver on that squad. And definitely they got a beast at tight end. They've got who's their running back? They've got a really good running back too if they ever decide to run the ball on a regular basis.
Did they trade up to get somebody or
I don't know. I don't think so. But their second that they got for Stephon Diggs is for next year.
That's what shocked me. I thought they were using.
But he's 30. He's about to be 31. And his it is it's a lot of money that they. But the Houston Texans. They decided to put all of his years basically into one, and they gave him a whole bunch of guaranteed money this year. So it's essentially turned it into a 1-year deal with them. So because I think that they want to eventually re-sign him next year for a lesser rate, but it'll a more team friendly deal, and that way they'll take the hit this year because they ain't paying nobody. So
yeah, they cut that all the way down. Looks like they're starting folks are going to be Josh Allen, tight end Dalton Kincaid, running back James Cook, fullback Reggie Gilliam.
James Cook is a beast.
James Cook's a load. He's a load. And with the new hip drop rule,
it's going to be difficult.
Derrick Henry might break the record this year, folks. Remember, you heard it from Tarrerdome and Pete Lucas first. Derrick, look for this happening. We got at the slot wide receiver, Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir at the right wide receiver, as well as Justin Shorter at the left wide receiver. They're gonna add some people. They look some people. They looking for folks.
They're gonna add some people. You're gonna see some vets on that squad this in camp, and then they're probably gonna draft at least one, if not two. So it's and there's some wide receivers that are going to be there late.
It is. It is. It's a
So
lot of wide receivers out there.
it's and that could have been with their thought process of it too. Is just hey, we're just going to go young. We're just going to go young, and we've got our quarterback. Maybe he can bring them along. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But does this whole thing affect Ayuk's contract situation, in any meaningful way to you?
Well, I gave him uh my draft analysis, or not draft analysis. I'll call it my how I look at the production of a player versus his market value. I matched it up against things like Spot Rack and overthecap.com. I
Mm-hmm.
look at a guy from his last 3 years, average him up, and that gives me your projection minus injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon Ayuk, man, looking at his touchdowns and his yards, and being the third or fourth option on
Yeah.
his team, this guy's gonna demand around 21 million,
Yeah.
22 million at best. If they come in and lowball Brandon Ayuk,
Well, they already offered him 22 from what I heard.
okay.
And that everybody considered that a low ball. I think he's going to expect 25. I think it's all going to come down to the guaranteed dollar. They've at least got to make the numbers look serviceable because they can take that funny money and make it
Oh
look
yeah,
a lot more than what it is.
you can
And
do all types of stuff. Yeah, it's
and then
monopoly money.
when they restructure inevitably down the road and turn a lot of that money, that funny money, into guaranteed dollars, that the player is going to get paid regardless.
Gotta be.
So
Gotta be. And he's
yeah,
gonna grind it out, and I think he's gonna be all right. I think he's gonna be in the silver and oh, I'm sorry, the gold and
don't say that.
scarlet.
Don't say
he's gonna
that.
he's
Don't
gonna
speak
be
that
in
into
gold.
the existence.
He's gonna be in gold and scarlet. He's gonna be in gold and scarlet, and we're gonna be okay. But if by chance he wasn't, I don't think that the Bills are gonna be able to pony up and give him something commensurate to what he's looking for.
Yeah.
Because if they were, you would have signed your guy. You would
Yeah.
have signed
They don't have enough.
Stephon Diggs.
They don't have enough to get him because they have the 28th pick right now. That's not enough to me. If I'm the 49ers, I'm not taking the 28th pick, 3 picks above where I'm at right now. Because that doesn't put you in a position to go get one of those elite offensive line talents. So that you ain't got enough unless you want to give me the first and something else.
Man.
And you're probably not gonna want to do that. So
No, it's gonna take the first,
and maybe
probably a
next year
second,
second.
and I dare venture to say next year's fifth, sixth,
Yeah.
and they're not gonna be able to pony that up and do all of that. So
Yeah.
I think we're safe. I think we're safe as far as the Buffalo Bills are concerned. Now there are some other people out there, mainly Houston, that looks like they're just Houston must just got money oozing out the back
They
of their
do.
pockets.
They got a rookie quarter. They got a 1-year quarterback, first year quarterback. When you got a first year quarterback, you got money, and they had taken it all the way down to the floor. From a rebuild standpoint, D'Amico just coached these dudes up. They got a bunch of young dudes. They got a bunch of young dudes.
Inspiration is a big part of coaching. Motivational, buying into the system, bringing in veteran leadership to change a culture. I know he didn't win the coach of the year, but
He should have.
We talk about the true measure of a man is the distance traveled. How far D'Amico bought that franchise, that organization, that record label from where they were to now as a playoff team, and adding and being on the cusp. Man, he just did an outstanding job. And
outstanding.
I got to give it up to D'Amico, man.
You got to.
Because I was worried about him going to Houston. I wanted him to come to Carolina. We got more money over here. We got a crazy owner who's like a used car salesman. He's like Les Nessman with the
Yeah.
checkerboard, crazy Eddie. I'm giving away money. I'm giving away money. But he went over to Houston. I was like, man, D'Amico, watch them guys, man. I don't know. They done let a lot of guys go because it was times that they were letting Deshaun went, and then he had his troubles. But cats like JJ Watt went, and Trent Brown went, and they treated people some kind of. My cousin actually played for him, Marcus Burley. He was like, "Hey man, that turf down there, some kind of way." It had a guy named Arian Foster, who was a wonderful running back. He tore up his knees there, and it was just. It was just something going on with that organization, man. Stay away from that organization. But he's turned stuff around. He brought in Tunstall, got himself a running back, got to the playoffs, adding on pieces, weapons, quarterback.
Yeah, and then they got picks again this year.
Yeah,
they're gonna get even younger. It's gonna be something. But hey. That's about our time today, Mr. Tarrerdome. I have thoroughly enjoyed my time this evening.
Thoroughly enjoyed
and
you. Thank
it was
you so much
time.
for having me.
I love having you on. We're gonna have to have you back. I think the chat can all agree to that. And but one more time, why don't you tell them where they can find you on the socials and where they can find your channel at so that they can go and sub
at Tarrerdome. Hit it on your YouTube, subscribe, like, share, tell a friend. I'm just, I think, too short of 300. When we get to 300, I'm gonna make a thumbnail with what's it do from 300? Lionitis.
Yeah.
We're gonna be at 300. Yeah, and I'm gonna have them abs. Them abs done gone, Pete.
I was about to say you ain't gonna have those abs.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to paint them bad boys on.
Get a t-shirt.
subscribe to Niner Fanatic Podcast, man. Pete Lucas, I am so sorry I missed you in December, man. I'm trying to make it up to you. I'm gonna double down on you. Pete called me out on a live show. If he said, "Yeah, you need to look at your DMs, man."
Yeah, man. Hey, I
like that.
You don't.
I was like, oh,
you don't. Nobody gets. You don't get people on if you don't ask. And I don't care how I got to get to you. I'm gonna find you. If I want you bad enough, I'm gonna get to you. I'm old school like that.
Word up.
I had to. I came up in a time where you had to go get the girl.
Come on, Pete. Tell him, Pete.
So hey, yeah, we hear no all the time.
Yes, sir.
But how about your friend?
Yes, sir. Pete, you my dude, man. Hit me up same way. And I am sorry for missing it, but I am here now. And
absolutely.
As the mafia says, how can we make this right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm gonna make it right.
Have to come on again. But like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed having you on today. Make sure that you hit the like. Make sure that you hit the subscribe. Make sure that you hit the bell so you get the notifications for when I go live. Make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend so we can be friends every day, every week. And we are on YouTube. We are on Twitter. We're on Facebook. If you don't like looking at my face, you can get us anywhere where you can get your audio podcast. There's no excuses. I don't care where you get it. Just get it. And it is what it is, but I will be back next Tuesday with Beto and Brandon. If Brandon decides shows up, yeah, I'm throwing shade. and we'll be back.
Hey,
we'll be talking.
He call you out, man.
He knows I got nothing but love for him. No, mama.
I know, man. This is love. That's what we need. Tell us the real. Hold each other accountable.
Exactly.
Hey, man. Exactly. Hey, you was a little late on this thing.
But hey, if I thank you to everybody that showed up in the chat. Appreciate you guys coming through. And as always, we're gonna get out of here. But it's always go Niners.
Go Niners.